Before the sellout crowds, before the record-breaking headlines, before the logo threes that shook arenas across the country, there was just a little girl in Iowa, a girl who wasn't born into the spotlight or draped in celebrity. No fans lined the streets to cheer her on. No cameras were poised to capture her every move. Instead, there was just a quiet driveway.
She is a superstar.
Up in time, Clark!
A worn basketball and a dream burning quietly but relentlessly inside her.
Oh man, that's a great question. I think, well, my mom has this piece of paper when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, and it has you write down all your dreams in these little bubbles. And I remember one of them was playing the WNBA and earn a basketball scholarship. Those were 2 of my goals. There was a bunch of other ones, probably I don't know, get a dog or something like that. But so I think those were 2 of my biggest goals.
Caitlin Clark's love affair with basketball didn't start on a polished hardwood court or under the glaring lights of packed arenas. It started on a simple patch of concrete in Des Moines, Iowa. Rain or shine, wind or chill, Caitlin was out there, dribbling, shooting, grinding. Her world was one of relentless repetition, where the noise came from the bounce of the ball and the rhythm of her heartbeat, not applause or cheers.
I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark? I mean, which one is it?
Basketball wasn't a show for Caitlin. It was her purpose. It was the language she spoke before she could even fully talk. It was the thing that gave her a sense of belonging and identity in a world that sometimes felt too big, too fast, and too uncertain for a young girl to navigate. Even at a young age, those who watched her play could feel it. The unmistakable spark that sets the truly great apart. Calm, under pressure, focused beyond her years, confident, almost like she belonged on the court before she ever set foot there. And deep down, Caitlin Clark knew exactly where she belonged. The basketball court was her home. The game was her calling. This is the Her Hoop story of Caitlin Clark.
She was dominating the top women in America. She was a little kid schooling the boys. Her dad, Brent, couldn't find a girls' league at that age, so she was the boys' problem in West Des Moines.
I think it was the 2nd grade AAU state tournament. It was a boys' tournament. Well, they ended up winning the tournament. One of the mothers complained because a girl shouldn't be allowed to play in a boys' tournament. So I always kind of chuckle about that. I mean, I can just remember her doing things in 3rd and 4th grade that were pretty...
A story not just about talent, but about grit. Not just about scoring points, but about growth. Not just about fame, but about greatness that changes the game forever. Caitlin Clark was born on January 22, 2002, in Des Moines, Iowa. A place known more for its heartland spirit than for producing national basketball icons. But from the very start, her story was shaped by a family that lived and breathed the values of hard work, determination, and quiet ambition. Her parents, Brent and Ann Clark, weren't famous athletes or sports celebrities. They weren't household names in the world of basketball, but in their own way, they were the foundation for something extraordinary. Brent had been a college athlete at Simpson College, a small school where he developed a competitive fire and a respect for discipline that would ripple through the family. Ann, on the other hand, was a steady force of structure and support, working in marketing, but always prioritizing the lessons of teamwork and resilience at home. Together, Brent and Ann created an environment where effort mattered far more than trophies, where the process was celebrated over the result. Their home was filled with stories of perseverance, of pushing through challenges, and of the value of discipline both on and off the court. For young Caitlin, this was the perfect soil for her ambitions to take root. She wasn't just watching basketball on TV for entertainment, she was studying it like a scholar of the game. Backyard scrimmages became strategy sessions. Discussions at the dinner table turned into lessons about teamwork, positioning, and mental toughness. By the time she picked up her first basketball at age 5, Caitlin wasn't simply playing. She was already attacking the game with a hunger and focus that set her apart. The grind came naturally. No one needed to push her to practice harder or longer. She wanted the reps, needed the sweat and repetition to chase the dream that was already alive inside her. Between 2010 and 2015, while most people hadn't yet heard her name, Caitlin Clark was quietly building something extraordinary. It wasn't flashy or loud. It was work done day after day, in quiet moments, away from any spotlight. By 6th grade, Caitlin was no longer just a talented kid. She was the phenomenon who dropped 60 points in a single game. Not over a season, just one game. The numbers stunned even the most experienced coaches and scouts. But it wasn't only the scoring that caught their attention. It was the way she moved, fluid and sure, as if the court was an extension of her own body, as if she already belonged on a stage far bigger than that school gym. While her peers scrolled through TikTok videos or lost themselves in video games, Caitlin was out in the cold, shooting until her hands went numb, chasing perfection in every shot, every dribble, every pass. Why? Because she understood something fundamental about greatness. It's not just talent. Talent opens the door, but obsession pushes it wide open. It's the love of the grind, the willingness to do the work no one sees, that separates the good from the great. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the court at Dowling Catholic High School, she wasn't just joining the varsity team. She was about to rewrite what it meant to be a high school basketball star. From her very first game, it was clear that Caitlin was operating on a different level. Unlike many young athletes who ease into varsity play, Caitlin hit the ground running, night after night. She dropped 30 or more points, dazzling crowds with her deep shooting range and dazzling ball handling skills. Defenders struggled to keep up as she orchestrated the game with the confidence of a seasoned pro. But what made Caitlin stand out wasn't just her scoring, though that alone was enough to make headlines. It was the way she played. She wasn't just chasing stats, she was elevating her entire team's play. By her senior year, Caitlin had earned the ultimate high school basketball honor. She was named a McDonald's All-American. Recognized as one of the top 4 players in the nation, she attracted scholarship offers from the biggest college programs across the country. Teams with deep histories and established legacies of winning. Yet, in a move that surprised many, Caitlin made a decision that said everything about her mindset. Instead of heading to a powerhouse blue blood program, she chose to stay closer to home and commit to the University of Iowa. Why Iowa? Because Caitlin Clark wasn't interested in joining greatness. She wanted to build it. This decision was a bold statement. Iowa was a solid program, but had never been a consistent contender on the national stage. Caitlin's choice was about more than basketball. It was about legacy, leadership, and the opportunity to be the centerpiece of something new. She wanted to be the spark that ignited a program, the star who could bring a Midwestern university into the national spotlight.
You know, I never won really anything, and my mom always said, like, if you want to play with them, you got to find a way to hold your own. Like, you're the one that wants to hang out with them and play sports with them. Like, that's just how it's going to be.
And she was ready to put in the work to make that happen. When Caitlin Clark arrived at the University of Iowa in the fall of 2020, the world was anything but normal. The COVID-19 pandemic had shut down arenas, emptied stadiums, and silenced crowds across the country. For many athletes, the uncertainty and isolation were crushing. But for Caitlin, it was an opportunity. With no fans to cheer or jeer, Caitlin turned inward and dialed up her game. She didn't just adapt to the strange new world, she thrived in it. In her freshman season, Caitlin Clark led the entire NCAA in scoring, averaging a staggering 26.6 points per game. But she wasn't a one-dimensional scorer. With nearly 7 assists and 6 rebounds per game, she showed she could do it all, distributing the ball, crashing the boards, and creating magic on the court. Her shooting was a spectacle. Logo threes, deep, almost disrespectful shots became her signature. No-look passes dazzled fans and opponents alike. Every game was a showcase of artistry and skill. But here's the thing. Caitlin wasn't easing into college basketball like most freshmen. She was owning it. By her sophomore season, the expectations were enormous. Everyone was watching to see if she could handle the pressure, if she could maintain or even improve upon her breakout year. And she didn't just meet those expectations. She exceeded them. She increased her averages to 27 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds per game, turning Iowa basketball into must-watch TV every week. Opponents adjusted their defenses, tried to contain her, but nothing worked. Caitlin moved the game forward with every dribble and pass. She made the Hawkeyes competitive against the nation's best and put women's college basketball back. She ignored it all. Because Caitlin Clark knows that true greatness doesn't come from what others say. It comes from what you do on the court. Then came 2023, a year that would cement Caitlin's legacy forever. The NCAA tournament, the Final Four. Under the brightest spotlight in college basketball, Caitlin put on one of the greatest individual performances in tournament history. She poured in 41 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and dished out 12 assists, recording the first 40-point triple-double ever in NCAA tournament history for men or women. This wasn't just a game, it was a statement. From that moment on, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a star, she was a phenomenon.
Clark looking for it, steps it back, it's a three on the way! It's another three for Caitlin Clark!
Caitlin Clark's college career wasn't just about scoring points. It was about rewriting the record books and changing the game itself. In her final season at Iowa, she took her game to new heights. On February 15th, 2024, Caitlin achieved something no woman had done before. She passed Kelsey Plum to become the all-time leading scorer in Division I women's basketball history. Kelsey Plum's record had stood for years, and breaking it was no small feat. But Caitlin wasn't done yet. Just weeks later, she surpassed another legendary name, Pete Maravich, who had held the NCAA's all-time scoring record across both men's and women's Division I basketball for decades. Caitlin Clark scored more points than any NCAA player ever, and she did it without drama or arrogance. No flashy celebrations, just a quiet smile and a focus on the game she loved. Her final season was a masterclass in consistency, skill, and leadership. She kept piling up points, assists, and rebounds, proving every night why she was the best in college basketball. But college was just the beginning. April 15th, 2024, the day Caitlin Clark's dreams took a new shape. With the #1 overall pick, the Indiana Fever selected Caitlin Clark. The crowd erupted, cameras flashed, and social media exploded with excitement. A new era was about to begin. It should have been a fairy tale welcome to the professional ranks, but the reality was more complicated. Instead of a warm embrace, Caitlin entered a league that didn't quite know how to handle her brilliance. Caitlin Clark stepped into the WNBA, ready to take the league by storm, but the reality was harsher than anyone expected. Instead of mentorship and respect, she encountered a cold, calculated resistance. Veteran players, instead of welcoming her with open arms, challenged her very presence on the court. Hard fouls and cheap shots came her way, often with minimal consequences. Referees rarely ejected opponents or protected her from the aggressive tactics aimed at slowing her down. The silence from the league was deafening.
In 2024, she launched the Caitlin Clark Foundation, a project born from her desire to give back to the community that shaped her. The foundation focuses on empowering kids through sports, education, and health initiatives. From donating thousands of books to providing athletic resources and mentoring young girls, Caitlin is laying down a ladder for the next generation to climb. She's not just building a legacy of points and assists, she's building a legacy of opportunity and inspiration. Her foundation hosts clinics where young athletes learn not just the game, but lessons about leadership, discipline, and believing in themselves. She knows firsthand how crucial support and guidance are for young players chasing their dreams. This commitment to community and growth shows a different side of Caitlin, one that's just as powerful as her on-court dominance. As Caitlin Clark's star rose, so did the spotlight on the WNBA, and not always in the way you might expect. The league that welcomed her with the #1 draft pick was quick to recognize her talent, but slow to protect it. Early in her rookie season, the challenges became clear. The physicality ramped up. Hard fouls, rough play, and minimal repercussions followed. It wasn't just about basketball. It was about power, respect, and the unspoken rules of professional sports. Veteran players, some wary of this young phenom shaking up the status quo, didn't always extend a welcoming hand. Instead of mentorship, Caitlin encountered resistance. The cold shoulder from parts of the league was jarring for a player who had spent her life climbing, earning, and proving. It tested her resilience, her focus, and her unwavering belief in herself. But if you think that dimmed her fire, think again. Caitlin Clark doubled down on her craft. Every game was a statement, every three-pointer a declaration, every assist, every drive to the basket a reminder that she belonged, no, that she was indispensable. The fans noticed, the ratings soared, the arenas filled to capacity. A new generation of basketball lovers was tuning in, inspired by the fearless style and jaw-dropping skills of this young star. The merchandise flew off shelves. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player, she was a phenomenon transforming transforming the game. Yet the league's support remained inconsistent. Behind the scenes, debates raged about how to handle the polarizing figure who was both a draw and a disruption. Media narratives twisted from celebration to criticism in the blink of an eye. Questions about her style, her attitude, and her fit in the league overshadowed her on-court brilliance. Still, Caitlin kept her head down and her game up. She became a beacon of perseverance and professionalism, speaking softly with her sneakers, letting her numbers and highlights do the talking. Off the court, Caitlin Clark's influence only deepened. Recognizing the platform she had, she launched the Caitlin Clark Foundation in 2024, a project close to her heart. Focused on sports, education, and health for kids, it was her way of giving back, opening doors, and lighting the path for others who dreamed big but faced obstacles. She donated thousands of books to schools, provided athletic resources in underserved communities, and mentored young girls, showing them that talent combined with hard work could break barriers. This wasn't just about basketball. It was about creating opportunity, fostering hope, and inspiring the next generation to reach beyond what anyone said was possible. Caitlin Clark's journey is about more than points and assists. It's about redefining what it means to be a leader in women's sports. She embodies a new era where athleticism, advocacy, and authenticity blend. She is not only shaping the future of the WNBA but also challenging the league to evolve alongside her. The question looming over the league now is whether the WNBA will rise to meet Caitlin Clark's greatness. Will it protect its brightest star and embrace the growth she represents? Or will it cling to old dynamics, risking the loss of the very energy and innovation that could propel it forward? The world is watching closely, not just Caitlin's moves on the court, but how the league supports her off it. This moment is about more than one player. It's about the future of women's basketball, about progress and inclusion, about courage and change. At Her Hoops, we're not just watching quietly, we're paying attention. Caitlin Clark is here. She was built for this stage, for these challenges, and for this moment in history. If the system won't rise to meet her, rest assured, she will rise anyway. Her story is far from over. It's only just beginning. And as she continues to shatter records and expectations, she carries with her the hopes of countless fans, young athletes, and dreamers who see in her the true spirit of greatness. Thanks for joining us on Caitlin Clark's incredible journey. For more inspiring stories, don't forget to subscribe to Her Hoops. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning of a legacy that's changing the game forever.